Guys, real fast before this video begins, I like to say, every time I say Nick Novak, I'm thinking about Nick Folk. For some reason, I got the Bucks kicker mixed up, and for some reason, I thought Nick Novak was on the Bucks. So every time I say Nick Novak, I mean Nick Folk. So again, you're gonna hold the whole first part when I talk about the Bucks game, and I say how Nick Novak needs to be cut, he needs to be kicked off the team. I mean Nick Folk. Nick Folk is who I mean, not Nick Novak. So just keep that in mind, guys. The whole first part, Nick Folk is who I'm talking about. I'm not talking about Nick Novak. Enjoy the video. Hey guys, I'm Lucky. I'm back here for the video, guys. Today we will be looking at this week's Week 5 overview and review. Kind of just giving my 2 cents on how I think this week went, and also at the same time, you know, just looking at all the games. So let's start off right away with New England versus Tampa Bay. This was the Thursday night, game. Let's start off with number 1. Nick Novak, you need to get out of the NFL. He missed 3 field goals in this game, which you see right here, it was a 5-point game. He missed 12 points, guys. That would have won the Tampa Bay Buccaneers the game, and it would have been over. So if the fact that he cannot make a field goal, he needs to be just cut and never picked up by anyone ever again. Because again, he missed 3 of them. He literally cost Tampa Bay this game. New England, you guys look really, really bad. Now, don't get me wrong, your offense is still, kicking. Obviously, Tom Brady's on your offense, 303 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Running game, I really don't like in New England, but I've never liked New England's running game no matter what. Your receivers, though, Cooks, Amendola, and Hogan did great. Now, Gronkowski was a last-second scratch in this game. He had a thigh injury. Now, I'm not sure if that's going to linger and actually, become something. Obviously, Gronkowski has an injury history, but we'll kind of see where that goes on from there. Now, looking at Tampa Bay's side, how can you not look at the fact that Doug Martin comes back from suspension, 4-week suspension for, I believe it was alcohol he got in trouble for, like he was drinking a lot, and he has 74 yards and a touchdown. Now, based on watching him run, he looks amazing. Now, I know, temper your expectations because Doug Martin is injury prone, but nonetheless, he just looked like, oh my gosh, he looks so good. I know the Patriots defense might suck, but when he was running, he just looked like he knew where to go. He knew what holes to hit, and he just knew what to do on every single carry. And again, 74 yards and a touchdown for him. Jameis Winston had 334 yards and 1 touchdown. Very, very nice night for Jameis Winston. D-Jax got going with 106 yards. Very nice night for D-Jax. Definitely, I thought when I first heard that he was going to Tampa Bay, I thought these are the type of games that he was going to have every freaking week. Was over 100 yards and maybe a couple touchdowns, but over 100 yards easily. And surprisingly, so far, he has not had those kind of weeks yet. But nonetheless, very, very nice game for him with 106 yards. Second was Cameron Brate. He actually caught a 17-yard touchdown and a 17-yard touchdown at the end of the game. So 18-yard touchdown in the game. So he, kind of capped off his night with. Before that, he did have 50 yards, but nothing too special there. Other than that, though, nothing too special to look at. Again, other than the fact that Nick Novak, you cost this team the game. And I definitely am disappointed in Nick Novak for costing Tampa Bay this game. Buffalo at Cincy. And if you guys do not know, I am a Ravens fan. And yes, I know how it feels to lose a game because your kicker can't make a 32-yard field goal. Billy Cundiff. Nonetheless, I know how it feels to lose because of that. And as the NFL website is just 100% about ads here. Okay, so again, as I said, but I know how it feels to lose because of a field goal kicker not making a field goal. So, Bucs fans, don't feel too bad. I went through an AFC Championship game where we lost to New England because Billy Cundiff couldn't kick a field goal. Now, don't get me wrong, Lee Evans should have caught that touchdown pass, but at the same time, you got to make a 32-yard field goal. And kind of surprisingly, Nick Novak in this game missed a 31-yard field goal, I believe. Come on, Nick. Come on, man. You ain't Cundiff. Come on, Nick Novak. Seriously, man. Nick Novak needs to retire. Nonetheless, let's go on to Cincy versus Buffalo. Cincy wins this game 20-16. And wow, does AJ Green show why he's one of the best receivers in the NFL, if not the best. AJ Green has 189 yards and 1 touchdown. Joe Mixon, the rookie, although yes, there wasn't much to go off of when it came to actual, rushing in this game for Cincinnati. He did have 51 yards and a touch, so that is at least something. Andy Dalton had 328 yards, 1 touchdown, and 2 interceptions. Kind of not surprising with the interceptions, but with Buffalo's defense being the highest scoring defense in the league, not surprised that, he threw a couple interceptions. Their defense is killer. Nonetheless, though, nothing too crazy on Buffalo's side on Cincinnati's side, outside of AJ Green. Definitely AJ Green was just a monster and a half to deal with. Would never want to go against AJ Green. I mean, to be honest, if he's on the other side of the ball, I don't want to deal with it. Now, on Buffalo's side, 166 yards and a touchdown, 1 interception. LaShawn McCoy, 63 yards rushing. And receiving, Charles Clay actually got hurt in this game, which is kind of ironic. But Nick O'Leary, their first tight end. Charles Clay, the second tight end. And then the running back. And then we have 2 receptions by their only one receiver right here. Ben Tate, or Brandon Tate, how you say his name. He is the only receiver with 2 receptions. Then you have the fullback with 3 receptions. And then the second receiver, Zay Jones, with 1 reception. Isn't that interesting? Nonetheless, though, they did have 2 interceptions again by Micah Hyde and Poyer. And a forced fumble by Alexander. Forced fumble by Geno Atkins. And a interception by George Aloka. Very nice day for both teams in that manner, because it was a close game, and obviously Cincinnati could have lost that game. Buffalo could have won. It kind of goes back and forth in that game. Alright, so Cleveland versus New York. The battle of the Super Bowl teams. Nah, JK. But seriously, guys. Wow, this was quite an interesting game, wasn't it? So that score is kind of spread a little thin. Now, I did not read 100% what happened in this game when it came to Kaiser and Hogan. I know Hogan's came in the third quarter. I don't know if Kaiser got hurt or if Kaiser was that bad, but I know Hogan came in early in the third quarter. Nonetheless, though, Crowell had 60 yards and 1 fumble. But do not get it wrong. Actually, let me see who got the fumble. It was Kaiser that actually did the fumble. I was going to say, because what they did was Kaiser ran like a high school option. It was like a high school quarterback option where they rolled to the right. And for some reason, I guess he felt under pressure because the guys were coming in. So he just tosses it to the left to Isaiah Crowell. Crowell not even expecting the ball to come to him. And then Crowell's like, oh crap, the ball's on me. And he tries to, hold it, and he just drops it. And obviously that's a fumble. Luckily, it's caught by Kaiser and not by Crowell, because that wasn't Crowell's fault at all. Nonetheless, though, Ricardo Lewis has 71 yards and 63 yards and a touchdown by Duke Johnson. And surprisingly enough, Duke Johnson at the end, you're going to see right here, he had a 41-yard touchdown. And I got to say, they have to get Duke Johnson the ball more. Duke Johnson, when he got a catch, right? He got a 41-yard touchdown. He did that all himself, guys. He runs to the left, and then he cuts back to the right and gets in the end zone. They have to get him the ball more. Isaiah Crowell might be nice, might be okay, but Duke Johnson is amazing when he gets the ball. They have to give him the ball more, or else, there's just going to be more and more issues. Now, I feel like there was so many interceptions in this game. There's only 3. But I feel like there was a lot more than that. I don't know why. Watching this game, it just seems like everything was just back and forth pretty much. But anyway, Jason McCourty had 1 interception and 1 forced fumble. Very nice day for him. Again, the rookie tight end actually had a touchdown, David Njoku. 21-yard score from Kevin Hogan, which I I like the fact they're starting the rookie Kaiser, but I'd probably keep in Hogan. Hogan, actually, when the Ravens played them, we were killing Kaiser. We were stopping Kaiser. Kaiser wasn't doing crap against us. I believe at the time we had 2 picks against the guy. And then they put in Hogan. And I was like, oh, cool. Come on, Hogan? Like, okay, what's Hogan going to do? First play throws a touchdown pass to the tight end. I'm like, okay, Kaiser needs to come back in the game. They brought back in Kaiser and the Ravens ended up winning. But nonetheless, like, Kaiser, I don't know. I know he's a rookie. And I don't want to criticize a rookie. And I get what he does. He holds the ball very long. And he doesn't want to cause many interceptions or fumble the ball. So he sits there in the pocket. And that's why he obviously isn't doing the best. And 87 yards kind of goes to show for that. Josh McCown, though, 194, 2 touches, and an interception. Running game. What is this? I don't know why the first 2 games we've looked at, 3 games we've looked at now, the running games have been just completely out of reach. Receiving game. ASJ scored a touchdown, I guess. Javon Curse caught like an 18-yard score. 2-yard touchdown for ASJ, and then 24-yard score for Jermaine Kearse. With Jermaine Kearse's touchdown, I don't know to say if it was his, like, at all skill. What he did pretty much was he ran and out up the field route, and no one covered him. And he just pretty much walked in the end zone, booty, butthole naked. He was going to the end zone, and he caught a pass in the end zone for a touchdown. But yeah, no one really covered him. So I don't know to say if that was all him, or to say it was more or less, you know, just the fact that it was a good route. Nonetheless, though, let's go on to the next game. A game that a lot of people thought, you know, the Lions were going to win this game. And now Carolina is going to be very, very highly ranked on a lot of power rankings because of this win. Obviously, the Detroit Lions, you know, they play very, very well. They have a very, very good team. But this loss is definitely going to come back to bite them. Matthew Stafford had 229 yards and 2 touchdowns, especially because it's inside the conference. You know the Lions don't run the ball, so I don't even know why they do rushing. We should get rid of rushing. The Lions don't run the ball. But nonetheless, though, Marvin Jones had 54 yards. Golden Tate had 48 yards. And yeah. So Ed Dickson had 175 yards. What are we doing, guys? What's happening? What is this? What the league is coming to? Ed Dickson, guys, you don't know who Ed Dickson is. He was on the Ravens 4 or 5 years ago. He was our backup tight end to Dennis Pitta, right? And he actually in the Super Bowl, he caught like a 20-yard pass when the Ravens beat the 49ers in the Super Bowl. I believe he caught a 20-yard pass. Is that I hate Ed Dickson? I just, like, being a Ravens fan and having him for so many years, I don't think he has much talent. I don't think he's really that great. I know for dang sure he really can't catch a lot of catches. He will drop a lot of things. But nonetheless, I don't know. Ed Dickson had 175 yards, 58 yards for Calvin Benjamin, and 53 yards for Funchess, and 3 touchdowns all aboard for Christian McCaffrey, Funchess, and Benjamin. Cam had 355 yards and 3 touches. Very, very nice day for Cam Newton. Nonetheless, though, as you can see, this are the scores on my hand side. Go on to the next game. Wasn't this an interesting game? And, you know, my suspicions of how much I hate Carlos Hyde really come true. And when I say I hate Carlos Hyde, I mean in fantasy football, guys, not in real life, obviously. But I really don't like Carlos Hyde. And I'm not going to lie, this game really just proves my point on why I think he's one of the worst halfbacks. Carlos Hyde had 8 rushes, and I know, you know, no one really did anything in this game rushing-wise. But obviously, Breida outsnapped Carlos Hyde, had 49 yards. Carlos Hyde had 11 yards, and I just don't like Carlos Hyde. It might be because he has injury issues. Not probably. Anyway, though, 116 yards for Marquise Goodwin, 94 yards for Pierre Garçon, 83 yards and a touch for Kittle. Breida had 22 yards receiving, and Kyle Juszczyk had 14-yard touchdown. 14 yards and a touchdown, which is a 6-yard touchdown. As you can see right here, guys, 6-yard touchdound for Mr. Kyle Juszczyk at the end of the game that actually sent the game into overtime. All right, so Jacoby Brissett, 314 yards, 0 touchdowns, 1 interception. Marlon Mack, 91 yards and a touchdown. Jacoby Brissett, 14 yards and a touchdown. 177 yards, T.Y. Hilton. Welcome back, T.Y. Hilton. What to take away from this game is going to be Marlon Mack could see a future where he is, well, I mean, obviously he's the future running back to take over Frank Gore. Will he do that? I really don't think so. But that is the guy to look at when it comes to, if you're looking at realistically, if you're a Colts fan, Marlon Mack's your future. If you're looking at fantasy football-wise, I talked about picking him up in the waiver wire show. But nonetheless, he is going to be the guy to target if you're going to target anybody when it comes to, you know, sleeper that could eventually become the starter in this, you know, league. Very, very nice player. Going to be interesting to see how he develops. All right, Miami versus Tennessee. Wow, wasn't this an interesting game? Both halfbacks actually fumbled the ball. We had Jay Ajayi fumble and we had DeMarco Murray fumble. Jay Cutler versus Matt Castle, I gotta say, for hearing those two names, you know, matching up against each other, you usually don't sit there and go, oh my god, I want to watch this game. Surprisingly enough, you kind of did. And Rashad Jones had a 38-yard fumble return for a touchdown. I believe, if I am correct, and Dolphins fans tell me, that's the one where Castle got hit from behind, the ball squirted out forward, and he picked it up and returned it for a touchdown. I believe that was the play. And actually, that same play happened the week before for Buffalo against Atlanta. Kind of interesting. But nonetheless, though, 141-yard touchdown for Matt Castle, 58 yards rushing for DeMarco Murray. And as you can see, the first, all these games we've looked at so far, the rushing totals for all of these games have been awful. Jay Ajayi, I believe, was the first halfback we've looked at so far who actually had something when it came to rushing yards. Kind of interesting. But Jay Cutler, 92 yards, a touchdown, and an interception. Receiving-wise, not much to talk about on either squad. Again, Rashad Jones had 2 fumble recoveries, I believe. Let me see. He had 2 fumble recoveries, which is very awesome on his part. Very good day for him. Super Nah caught a touchdown, he was on the Ravens practice squad for 6 years, I think, or something like that. He was on the Ravens practice squad, I believe, for a while. And he got a touchdown, so awesome to Super Nah. Jarvis Landry had a 6-yard score from Jay Cutler, obviously. Kick failed, wide right. Which, again, with Nick Novak, I mean, they don't have Nick Novak, but I'm saying Nick Novak would be proud. Nonetheless, guys, let's go on to the next game. We have a game that I honestly, going into this game, I was going back and forth on who I thought was going to win this game. And I didn't know who to pick, you know? There's the Chargers who are 0-4, and you have the Giants who are 0-4. Who to pick was pretty much the biggest toss-up of the week for me. I didn't know who to pick on this game, but to be honest, the Chargers won. Odell Beckham's out for the season. What else is more to say, I mean, really crappy for the Giants losing Odell Beckham. They also lost Sterling Shepard in this game. And yeah, so Odell Beckham did have 97 yards and a touchdown. Eli Manning had 225, 2 touches, and an interception. The only thing to take away for the Giants side of the ball, if you're looking at this fantasy-wise and just overall football-wise, Lewis is going to get a lot more targets. All I got to say. Chargers side of the ball, 258, 3 touchdowns and an interception, 105 yards from Melvin Gordon. Melvin Gordon killed it this game with 105 rushing, 58 receiving, and 2 touchdowns. He definitely killed it. Phillip had a good game too. And again, touchdown-wise, you see right here, there was a safety because I believe, what's his name? Pooley fumbled out of bounds. Phillip Rivers just knocked it out of bounds. So the guy fumbled and Phillip just knocks it out of bounds for a safety. Obviously to avoid a touchdown. Alright. Melvin Gordon. Okay, sorry, my bad. So anyway, Robert Lewis had a 29-yard touchdown score. Odell Beckham had a touchdown score too. And I think I just realized I've been saying the Bucks kicker wrong. Wait, am I saying the Bucks kicker's name wrong? Hang on, hang on 1 second, guys. I think I'm saying the Bucks kicker wrong. I kept calling him Nick Novak. What's his name? I feel like I completely said his name wrong. Blah 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 blah. Okay. Okay, I think I was saying his name wrong. I kept calling him Nick Novak. I'm pretty sure that might not be his name now. I don't know why. I thought they said his name was Nick Novak. I might be incorrect on that. But nonetheless, though. Wait, did they? Okay, looking at the depth chart, they do not. It says place kicker Patrick Murray. Wait, did they actually cut Nick Novak? Alright, guys, so just I have to check this. I think, let me actually see. Wow, so I am sorry to Chargers fans for keep saying Nick Novak was on the Bucks. And as this thing is being weird. Alright, so who's the kicker? Who's the kicker that I kept getting wrong, actually? Now I'm kind of interested. Kickoffs, Reedy. Oh, it is. No, it's Nick Folk. Luff. Nick Folk, guys. Nick Folk. Okay, my bad. Nick Novak is on the Chargers. Which, yeah. Okay, my bad, guys. So, Nick Novak is on the Chargers, not on the Bucks. Nick Folk is who I meant. So, there'll probably be a little thing at the beginning of this video saying, hey, every time I say Nick Folk, or every time I say Nick Novak, I mean Nick Folk, and every time I say, Nick, blah, blah, blah. Let's get on. Nonetheless, though, other than that, in this game, we had an interception and a forced fumble for Goodson, and then Thompson, kind of, stuff. Again, we already looked at Philip Riverside, so let's go ahead and look at the Arizona versus Philadelphia game, where Philadelphia completely destroyed Arizona in this ball game. Completely wrecked them. Carson Wentz 304 yards, 4 touchdowns, 1 interception, 74 yards rushing, 93 yards, and a touchdown for Nelson Aguilar, 70 yards for Torrey Smith, and a touchdown. Zach Ertz, 61 yards, and a score. Other than that, though, it doesn't look like there's any defensive touchdowns, so nothing crazy there. But obviously, Carson Palmer, 291 yards and a score. No rushing to be had on the Cardinals side of the field. 80 yards for Jaron Nelson. Oh, no, J.J. Nelson. I don't know why I thought Jaron Brown and J.J. All right, Ellington at 65 yards, 51 yards for Fitzgerald. Very decent games for all those guys. Nonetheless, let's go on to the next game where Jacksonville completely destroyed Pittsburgh. Okay. I'm always trying to click out of it to exit out of the video because they always want you to watch the videos. I'm trying to click out of it and it's like I always end up clicking the wrong thing. Big Ben threw 5 picks and including 2 pick sixes, 1 to Talvin Smith and 1 to Barry Church. 312 yards nonetheless. Le'Veon Bell had an awful day at 47 yards rushing and 46 yards receiving. 157 yards for Antonio Brown, 58 yards for Juju Smith-Schuster. Other than that, though, 1 pick by Ryan Shazier, and it went all Jacksonville's way. Jalen Ramsey, 1 interception. Talvin Smith, 1 interception. Deshaun Gibson, 2 interceptions. And Barry Church, 1 interception. Receiving wise, don't look at the offense other than Leonard Fournette. Leonard Fournette had 181 yards and 2 touchdowns. He was the offense for the Jaguars. Don't look at Blake Bortles or any of those guys. Let's go into the next game. Pittsburgh, you got destroyed at home. Kind of surprising. You guys never get destroyed at home. Different story, I guess. Alright, anyway, though, now we have Seahawks versus Rams. And, to be honest, the Rams won this game at the end. but Cooper Kupp dropped a wide open touchdown in the end zone. Shout out to Cooper Kupp for losing this game. Anyway, though, Jared Goff, 288 and 2 interceptions. Other than that, there's no rushing to be had, which I'm not surprised. Seahawks have a really good defense. Higbee had 98 yards. Robert Woods had 66 yards. Cooper Kupp had 44 yards and a drop touchdown that won the game. I had to, guys. I had to. Jared Goff did also fumble the ball with his 2 interceptions, though he got 3 turnovers for the game. Davis had 1 interception. Johnson had 1 interception. And now looking at the other side of the ball, we had an interception and a fumble recovery by Sheldon Richardson. 1 pick and a forced fumble by Earl Thomas. A forced fumble by Clark. And going up for the other side of the ball, no rushing yards, but receiving-wise, nothing to talk about. Russell Wilson, 198 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Yeah. And they even brought in I don't know how to say his name, but he had an interception. So, yeah, nothing really to talk about too much. Jimmy Graham had a touchdown, though. That was a pretty good one. Other than that, nothing to really talk about in this game. Rams, last 7 times you guys played Seahawks at Rams home. They were 5-2, and now they're 5-3. Ravens, Raiders. Wow. Wasn't this an interesting game? If we didn't play EJ Manuel, I don't know how this game would have went. So, guys, this is how... Let me explain this game in one simple step, right? First half, the Ravens had the #1 offense in the league. We moved the ball. We destroyed. We got the ball down the field. We did everything. You see, we scored 24 points in the first half. It was 24-10 at halftime. We just destroyed the Raiders in the first half. We were just amazing. And then the second half came. And I was excited personally, because I'm like, oh yeah, first half we destroyed. Joe, how are we going to do it, Joe? What are we going to do in the second half, Joe? And then Joe Flacco decides, well, I'm going to be the first, 4 weeks of the season, Joe Flacco. And if you have not seen the first 4 weeks of the season, Joe Flacco, it's I sit in the pocket and do nothing until either I'm sacked or we throw a pick. I don't know why, but it seems like at halftime, the Ravens, I don't know if they thought, like, Joe was like, all right, well, I did enough to win the game, and, if my defense can't win it, then I don't care. But he really didn't freaking care once the second half started. Like, it seems like once the second half started, Joe checked out of the game and didn't care. You saw 6 points in the second half. We scored 24 points in the first half and 6 points in the second half. There's an issue when you score 6 points in the second half of a ball game when you put up 3 touchdowns in the field goal in the first half. Now, don't get me wrong though. Joe did not throw a touchdown. But the first play of the game, we hit Mike Wallace for about 40-yard play. And that is when I knew that was the old Joe. The old Joe can hit the ball and just slam it down the field. He also hit Mike Wallace on I believe a 60 or 70-yard pass down the field. Now, he underthrew the ball. And this is something that Joe does, which, again, this game is just a Ravens fan giving his Ravens fan opinion, okay? So, we're not going to talk about the stats as much. I'm just going to tell you what happened. So, Joe, I don't know if he's scared or something, but it feels like he's scared of overthrowing the ball. And that's what the one thing I really do not like about Joe is I feel like he's scared because he does overthrow the ball a lot. And he used to do this back in the day with Torrey Smith and Dante Stallworth when we had him. It's just, and Jacoby Jones. It's almost like he's scared to overthrow the ball. So he underthrows it because I think he just knows that it's going to get caught if he underthrows it. And if he doesn't get caught, there could be a pass interference call. And he did that with the Mike Wallace play. He threw a pass deep down the field. If he throws that 5 yards longer, 5 yards more, it's a guaranteed free touchdown for Mike Wallace. Wallace was in stride, going downfield, and if he throws it 5 yards more, Wallace is going to run under that, catch it for a touchdown, no big deal. But instead, we end up settling for a field goal, because of the fact that, I don't know, because I think he wanted to guarantee the catch. And I get that with Joe. I understand that. But it just seems like, I don't know. You can't be scared in the NFL. And I know, like, well, yeah, at least you got a catch, though, and you got some points on the board. But we set up for a field goal. We would have got a touchdown if he would have, if he would have put that 5 yards longer. So that really ticked me off. Other than that, though, West runs like 2 times, and then he gets hurt. Terrence West sucks. Like, in all honesty, I don't know why we have Terrence West. I don't know why he's still on the team. I don't know why we kept him. Terrence West is awful. Like, I get it. Like, when we lost, we lost Justin. Well, Justin Forsett was awful. So Terrence West was going against Justin Forsett a couple years back, and he beats out Justin Forsett, which I really don't think is that difficult to do. But nonetheless, Javalis Allen, I feel like is a halfback the Ravens don't want to use. Like, no matter what happens, it feels like Javalis Allen, the Ravens was like, we will use any running back we can over Buck Allen. His name's Javalis, but we call him Buck. Buck Allen. They want to use any halfback over Buck Allen, it seems like. And Alex Collins, I love Alex Collins. He's so explosive. You watch Alex Collins run, guys. He looks like any play he can take a 0 yard. He can go from 0 to 60-yard play in a matter of seconds. He is so good at that. He is so explosive. He can make cuts. He's just so good. And then we look at why did he get cut from Seattle. He got cut from Seattle because the guy can't hold on to the football. Since he's been here for 2 weeks, he's fumbled it twice. I love Collins. And he fumbled the ball in the pits against Steelers last week that got them in the end zone and gave up huge field position. I love Collins, but I don't trust him with the ball. Every time he runs it, I always get scared that he's going to fumble it again. Other than that, though, nothing to really talk about on the Ravens side of the field. Now let's go to the Raiders. EJ Manuel, you guys really need Derek Carr back. EJ did not play bad. And I really want to stress that enough, that EJ actually really did good. And when I say you guys really need Derek Carr back, I mean because, if you guys do not know, my Super Bowl pick before this year started was the Oakland Raiders. So, obviously I don't want them to win this week, but every week I really want the Raiders to win. I love the Raiders. I think they were a great team. I love the team they have. Amari Cooper can't do anything this season, it seems like. He hasn't done crap this season. But Crabtree, obviously Cooper's a great receiver, but if he can get going, he'll be great. Marshawn Lynch, I love Derek Carr. They have such a good team that it's disappointing to see the fact of Derek Carr now on the field. And the funny thing is, Derek Carr wanted to play this game. Derek Carr is honestly, he's the GOAT, man. He wanted to play even when he's injured because he wanted to win for his team. And to start off the game, plain simple also, I forgot to mention this. Jared Cook, who had like 30 million targets and only caught the ball 3 times, he fumbles it for 6 on the first play. It's a screen pass to him, he fumbles it for 6. So that started off after we got a touchdown on our first drive. He fumbles it for 6. And yes, so that just kicked off the whole momentum shift of everything. And that Ravens had momentum for the rest of the game. But nonetheless, takeaways from this game, I would say is Raiders are a really good team. They just need Derek Carr back. I know they got destroyed by the Redskins, but guys, you have to admit, night games are always weird. You never know what's going to happen on night games. You never know what's going to happen here, what's going to happen there. And it's always, night games are always weird. So don't take that. And again, I'm saying this as a Ravens fan. I feel like if Derek Carr started this game, I don't know if we would have won. I don't think we would have won. But I definitely feel like, second half Joe needs to go away. I need first half Joe. I need Joe Flacco that can care about the game and, actually do something in the game. And that first half Joe I loved. Did not like second half Joe. Packers versus Cowboys. Wow. Jones had 125 yards and a rushing touchdown because Ty Montgomery wasn't playing and Williams, his backup, wasn't playing. So Jones becomes starter. Jones had 125 yards and 1 touchdown. 221, 3 touchdowns for Aaron Rodgers. Davante Adams had 66 yards and 2 touchdowns and a game-winning touchdown of 15 yards to win the game. So, good job, with 12 yards. Good job, Davante Adams. Plain and simple, I feel like this was not back and forth. The Cowboys got out to a really huge lead at the beginning. They took a very dominant approach. At halftime, it was 21-12. And then the second half, and the third quarter is 21-15. Kind of going back and forth. And then at the end of the game, the Cowboys score with, let's see how much time was left. They scored with 8:43 left, and then the Packers went down the field. They're on the 12-yard line with 15 seconds left. And I honestly, when I saw that, I clicked off the game, right? Because I was like, okay, they're probably just going to kick a field goal, no big deal. I'm thinking, I'm about to take a quick shower real fast, thinking like, all right, they're gonna kick a field goal. It'll probably take about 5 or 10 minutes. But then to go overtime, I come back, and the second I come back, I'm seeing like the game's over, and I'm like, what happened? So I rewind it, and I see Davante Adams catches a 12-yard touchdown. I honestly thought they were going to kick a field goal, and the fact that they weren't able to kick a field goal, they didn't kick a field goal and score a touchdown, Cowboys, that's really disappointing that you guys couldn't stop them. Now, I'm not throwing any shade at the Cowboys. You guys played a great game. Dak Prescott, 251, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception. Zeke Elliott had a great game, 116 yards. I think that's just dumb luck at the end. I know I'm dumb luck in the fact Aaron Rodgers is the best quarterback of all time. But nonetheless, that's just dumb luck in the end, I feel like. Nonetheless, other than that, though, very good game for both sides. This was one of the best games I've seen in a long time. I feel like one of the truly just amazing best games. I sat there the whole game and I was just enjoying myself. And that's what I really feel like football should have. And I feel like in the future, they need to start putting these games at night games and not the games with the crappy teams that either are blowouts or neither team scores. You got to start putting Green Bay versus the Cowboys as a night game. And then you're going to start seeing more views NFL when it comes to people watching the NFL. Because we don't want to see the crappy teams. We want to see a Cowboys-Packers game where it ends up at the very end where the Packers score with 12 at the 12-yard line. That's the type of stuff we want to see. Nonetheless, though, let's go to the Texans versus Chiefs game. Alex Smith, 324 yards, 3 touchdowns, 107 yards for Kareem Hunt. 98 yards Travis Kelce, who also got hurt in this game with a concussion. 68 yards for Tyreek Hill. Also had a punt return for a touchdown. Other than that, though, looking at Houston side of the field, 261, 5 touchdowns. 74 yards for Lamar Miller. 63 yards for Anderson. Of course, Will Fuller, being Watson's now favorite target, had 57 yards and 2 touchdowns. Last 2 weeks, Will Fuller has been amazing. 52 yards and 3 touchdowns with DeAndre Hopkins. And Sarkandrick West took 2 touchdowns away from Kareem Hunt. Don't pick up Sarkandrick West in any fantasy league, guys. He is pretty much the Juwan Thompson of the Broncos 2 years back for C.J. Anderson. That's all he is. C.J. Anderson and Ronnie Hillman. Comment down below if you remember Ronnie Hillman. But nonetheless, I don't even know where he is right now. I know he was on the Vikings. I think he went back to the Broncos. I don't know. But anyway, though, other than that, though, nothing much to talk about. This was not a back and forth game. The Chiefs pretty much had the game the whole entire time. J.J. Watt goes out for the season. And yeah, as you see, it was 23-7 at halftime. At the end of the third quarter, it was 23-13. And it was just, Chiefs are a really good team. That's all you got to say about this game. That's all you got to say, right? Chiefs are the best team in the NFL. That's all you got to say. Nonetheless, though, next game we have here is going to be the Minnesota Vikings versus the Chicago Bears. this game was so boring until halftime. At halftime is when I think it kind of changed. But before halftime, Sammy Biscuits gives up a safety because he just sits there for 23 minutes in the pocket. And he gives up a safety. And at halftime, you see right here, it was 2-3. Yeah. But at halftime, it got interesting. And I'm not sure 100% again if they benched Bradford or he got injured. Because in this game, watching the first half into the third quarter, he just looked like he was about to die. And he was getting hit a couple times, but you guys do not know, Bradford hasn't been playing the last couple weeks because he's been injured. And he looked like he was going to die in this game. But anyway, Jet McKinnon had 95 yards and a touchdown. He actually had a big 60-yard score on a 58-yard rushing touchdown. Other than that, though, you know, looking at both sides of the ball, nothing to really talk about. Case Keenum is definitely going to be a starter from now on, I feel like. Case Keenum, honestly, has earned the job as a starter. Mitchell Trubisky, though, 128 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Very, very nice night for Mitchell Trubisky. And Pat O'Donnell, who is that? That's the punter, guys. They faked the punt and threw a touchdown to Benny Cunningham. Interesting. It was a really interesting play, guys. It was a real interesting play. No one on the Vikings knew that was coming, one thing, and they didn't even react when it happened, it seems like. But nonetheless, Leonard Floyd had an amazing night with 2 sacks. Akeem Hicks had 2 sacks. Leonard Floyd was just in Bradford's face the whole game, and he just played amazing. The end of the game, though, Harrison Smith gets an interception on the 20-yard line, which results in a lot of plays later, a field goal to win the game for Minnesota. Minnesota wins. Pretty much that's it, guys. So thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to like button, subscribe to the channel if you're new. I'm going to try to do these videos each and every week, kind of recapping and reviewing each of the games, giving my opinions on everything. But I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.